Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a question that I know is on every single software engineer's mind right now. Is AI actually coming for our jobs? You've probably heard the hype, right? You see these quotes flying around, super dramatic predictions from really smart people saying AI is going to make developers totally obsolete. I mean, the claim here is wild, that in just 1 year, half of us won't even be here. Okay, but is that really the whole story? Because if you talk to experienced people, the ones actually in the trenches day in and day out, they'll tell you this whole narrative is missing something really, really important. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll tackle that end of coding hype. Then, we'll get real about what production software actually is. After that, we'll dig into what an engineer's job really is, how to get our code bases ready for AI, and finally, we'll build a Brandloom playbook you can use. All right, first up, let's talk about this provocative end of coding idea. We're going to look at the hype machine, and then we're going to hit it with a big dose of reality. So, where does all this hype kind of fall apart? Well, according to practitioners like Chris Kelly, a lot of the loudest AI evangelists, they're just not connected to the day-to-day reality of the job. He puts it pretty bluntly, they haven't actually touched a production system in a very, very long time. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? AI-generated code is, well, it's still code. It has to live and run inside our messy, complicated production systems. And you know what? Those systems will fail. And they'll fail in weird, unpredictable ways. And when they do, a human has to be there to figure it out and fix it. This whole situation, it's a pattern we've seen before. Think back maybe 15 years ago to the whole DevOps transformation. It didn't get rid of sysadmins. No, it gave them pay raises and shifted them to higher level, more valuable work. It's kind of like when the tractor was invented. Farming didn't disappear. What disappeared were the farm hands and the horses. The nature of the work just changed. So this gap between the theory and what actually happens in the real world, it brings us to this really interesting tension in how we build software today, especially with AI thrown into the mix. So on one hand, you've got what some folks are starting to call vibe coding. And it's basically, you let the AI write some code, you don't really examine it too closely, and you just kind of hope for the best. But that whole approach just smashes right into the wall of professional production engineering. The world where you need 99.99% uptime for thousands of active users with gigabytes of live data flowing through these massively complex, interconnected systems. And let's be real, when that system goes down at 2 in the morning, vibes are not going to fix the bug. No way. You need a human engineer, someone who deeply, deeply understands the system to dive in and diagnose what's actually wrong. And that right there, that need for deep understanding, that gets us to the absolute core of what a software engineer's job actually is. And spoiler alert, it's not what the hype machine tells you. So, okay, if the simple act of generating lines of code can be automated, what's left? What's the real value that an engineer brings to the table? What is the job? This is such a powerful way to think about it. The code itself, that's just the artifact. It's the output, like a blueprint for an architect. It's not the job. The real work, the real job, is the thousands of decisions, the architectural trade-offs, the debates about libraries, all the thinking that happens before a single line of code ever gets written. And this brings up that hidden cost, right? It's like what Jeff Atwood famously said. The best code is no code at all. Why? Because every single line of code you add comes with a long-term maintenance burden. And it doesn't matter if that code was written by your most senior engineer or if it was generated by an AI. Someone has to carry that weight. And here's why. LLMs, as amazing as they don't make decisions. They are incredibly powerful pattern-matching machines. They can't weigh the pros and cons of a monolith versus microservices. They have no idea about the weird, unique history of your company's Snowflake codebase. And they absolutely cannot make a strategic choice about sacrificing a little performance for more security. That's still on us. That's our job. Okay, so with all that in mind, how do we adapt? What do we need to do to prepare our work, our code bases, and our whole process for this powerful new tool? And what's so interesting is that the answer isn't learning some brand new mystical AI skill. Turns out, making your code base AI ready is, well, It's just good software engineering. It's all the stuff we probably should have been doing anyway. A great way to think about it is to treat your AI assistant like a brand new junior engineer you just hired. For that junior dev to be successful, what do they need? They need clear guardrails, right? Documented standards, a dev environment that just works, easy, fast local tests, and really clearly defined non-vague tasks. You give the AI that kind of structure and it can do great work. Without it, good luck. And this leads to a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive point. The most crucial skill in this new era, it might not be prompt engineering. Think about it. As more and more code gets generated by agents, the most valuable skill we can have is the ability to critically read, understand, and validate that code. Code review has never been more important. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's pull it all together into a new playbook, a way to really thrive in the age of AI. And it all starts with having the right mental model. This one anecdote is just perfect. It tells you everything you need to know. The developer was working with an AI, getting frustrated because it failed at a task, and the AI replied, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just scanned that file. I didn't read it." Now, hold on. An AI can't scan a file. It doesn't read like we do. So, what on earth is happening here? We have to constantly remind ourselves of this. AI talks like a human, but it is a machine. It's a text generator. It's just pattern matching on the mountains of human text it was trained on, like our emails and documents. It doesn't actually understand the concept of skimming. It just knows statistically that saying, "I just scanned it," is a very plausible thing a human would say in that situation to explain a mistake. It's just generating the most likely text. So what's a practical way to work with a tool like that? Well, instead of expecting a perfect one-shot answer, the pros are using a simple loop. First, you create. Use the AI to generate a first draft or a plan. Step 2, you, the human, refine that plan. You make edits, you apply your expertise. Then you loop. You have the AI execute your refined plan, and then you tweak the final output. Create, refine, loop. So where does that leave us? The job isn't going away, but it is absolutely changing. The real challenge isn't about AI replacing you. The real question you need to ask yourself is, are my skills changing with it?